Hi, everybody. This is Jimmy. You're reading with Jimmy. This is the 10-minute breakdown called Quick Take of Guy de Maupassant's A Duel, subtitled for this quick take, Occupation, Humiliation, and One Man's Line in the Sand. You ready? Welcome, everybody. What if I told you that a pot-bellied middle-aged man, not a soldier, not a hero, he takes down a Prussian officer with nothing more than rage, pride, and a pistol that he doesn't even know how to use? Well, that's The Duel by Guy de Maupassant. This is a beautiful, sharp, emotionally charged short story set during France's darkest hours, when dignity had to be defended one punch and one bullet at a time. So welcome to Jimmy's Quick Takes. This is where we break down these classic pieces of literature that are on my website. We want to encourage you to read this story with me, so I'm going to give you the 10-minute short quick take. Ready? Let's take a front row seat to a quiet man's sudden burst of rebellion when he says, "I can't take it anymore." What's the story? Well, this is post-war France. The Franco-Prussian War, the countryside is filled with occupying Germans. The Germans took over France and, they occupied France. And on a train leaving Paris one day, ordinary citizens are heading towards safety, or they're trying to get to safety. The main characters are Monsieur Dubois. He's a well-fed, non-combative tradesman. He's just a tradesman from Paris who he served in the National Guard, but he never saw a direct battle. He's just trying to get home to his wife and daughter in Switzerland because they're trying to escape the Prussians. They're occupying their country. He's got to get away. Then there's the Prussian officer, arrogant, red-bearded, hostile. He boards the train and he starts mocking everything French. You know the type I'm talking about. Two Englishmen, observers and accidental allies, who serve as witnesses, seconds, and comic relief. When you fight a duel, you need seconds. That's why you want to read the story with Jimmy. So what's the plot? Well, Monsieur Dubois boards the train and trying to avoid trouble. All he's trying to do is get home to Switzerland with his wife. Not home, but, the country. And when the Prussian officer enters, insults begin. He starts bragging about all the Frenchmen he killed. He mocks the French defeat. He's there, right? And then he turns his attention to Dubois, and he demands tobacco. He says at the next stop, "Go get me some tobacco." So Dubois leaves at the next stop, but he hops into the next car. Then they come to a stop again, and the soldier follows him to the next car with the two Englishmen following along, and he starts pulling his mustache. "I'll show you." And as he's pulling his mustache and insulting him, Dubois suddenly snaps, and he attacks the officer with his fists and beats the crap out of him. It's a great scene. You got to read this with me. And then the Prussian challenges him. He's bleeding and pumping. "I challenge you to a duel." And to everyone's surprise, Dubois accepts. With the Englishmen acting as his seconds, Dubois faces the officer in a pistol duel, and he has never held a gun in his life. So at the command, he fires, and I'm not going to be a spoiler alert. He doesn't even aim. But he kills the Prussian. The Englishmen cheer, "Hip, hip, hooray!" And they escort Dubois back to the train. And that's the story. Isn't that interesting? So what's the big deal? Well, it's not just a war story. It's about fear. Ladies and gentlemen, Guy de Maupassant is one of the best writers who ever lived. And this is a third-person narrator who brings you to feel the fear. If you've ever been confronted by a bully, this story is for you. If you've never been confronted by a bully, this story is for you because he will make you fear. This is what dignity looks like and doesn't look like. And how, if you've ever felt fear, right? Two men meet on the ruins of war. One's French, the other Prussian. One is the master, the other's the slave. I show you. The Frenchman lost his country, his pride, everything. He's just trying to get out of the country. But there's one thing he still has, self-respect. Right? He doesn't realize that, but that's what happened. That's what this story is about. So the Prussian wants obedience, submission, but he gets something else. So it's not about weapons, not really about war. It's about will and about fear, about a bully. And that in one moment, just like many of the stories we talk about, one moment, nothing left to lose, the Frenchman shows what real courage looks like. Here's some of the themes you'll read about with Jimmy. Dignity versus defeat. You could be defeated but still have dignity. You could lose a fight, but you still can have your dignity. His duel is not about glory. It's about preserving his dignity, his self-respect. It's about ordinary heroism. There are heroes around us all the time. You don't have to go out, and conquer worlds to be a hero. You could be a hero helping someone across the street that can't walk. Dubois isn't brave by nature. He's just a human being. Sudden emotional outbreak of pride or anger or whatever you want to call it. I just can't take it anymore. And he strikes out. And he gets lucky. He could have been killed. The Prussian officer represents dominance, entitlement, and he's arrogant. He's just an arrogant son of a gun. And eventually, that's what his arrogance turns on him. It gets him killed. Violence is expressed. The duel is literal and symbolic. It's a desperate way to express your identity, honor, and resistance. Who do you duel with? Huh? You duel with your parents? Do you argue with your parents? Do you argue with your family? Do you argue with your children? Are those duels? Dubois doesn't fight for politics. He fights because he's French. He's been conquered, and he's had enough of this mockery. So why does that matter today? What the heck? Why should I revisit a century-old story about a fat guy and a duel? Well, it doesn't matter what age you're in. Dignity still matters. Whether you're on a train, in a courtroom, or in a tweet, standing up for yourself takes courage, doesn't it? Bullying still exists. You don't think it exists? Of course it exists. It happens all the time. I can tell you stories. The Prussian officer represents every modern-day abuser who thinks their power is untouchable. I'm going to tell you what to do. Resistance can be sudden. Dubois doesn't plan to fight. Remember, he jumps out. You'll read it when you read it with me. He jumps out, goes to the next guy. He doesn't want nothing to do with this guy. But the guy pushes him. Something inside him snaps and says, not today. Because ordinary people can surprise us. Dubois may be slow, scared, awkward, but when that moment comes, he doesn't flinch. It's an amazing story. Humiliation unchecked can turn explosive. Yes. Keep humility. You can only kick a dog so often, right? And so the story warns us that repeated indignity builds up pressure, and eventually something can happen. Calling all readers. That's the duel in 10 minutes. Isn't that a great summary? Come on down. You're on the website. Read it with Jimmy. Get the full joy of the language. Remember, we read literature because language is charged with meaning. Literature is language charged with meaning. Come down. You're on the website. I'm on YouTube. Follow me on YouTube, and I'm going to leave you with this one question. What would it take for you, yes, ladies and gentlemen, you, to fight back? And would you know even when the moment arrives? Or would it pass you by? Or do you have to fight? Fight or flee, right? Come on down. This is what it looks like. This story I'm going to read with you for 14 minutes. That's only 4 minutes longer than what this quick take was. Come on down and read the story with me. A complete reading in 14 minutes. But this is such a great story. It's going to take me 50 minutes to analyze with you to help you appreciate the language more of Maupassant. So the QR code will bring you to my YouTube. You're already on my website, I think, by looking at this 10-minute quick take. Come on down. I challenge you. Have a great day.